Hi guys, it's Kelly here and I am back with another video. It certainly has been a hot minute. This video is part of a blog hop for the new Pretty Pink Posh November release, and I am using tons of products from this release because I loved all of them. So I'm using the decorative ornaments, the poinsettias, the elegant holly, and then the Season's Greetings script. It's a one-layer card because honestly I haven't made a card in forever ever, and I wanted to make something that I wanted to make, so we made a one layer card. No big shock there, right? So I started with the ornament because I needed to get the placement for the rest of the things. So I stamped that first, and then basically the idea that I had was to do like a corner piece of like the poinsettias and the holly and the leaves that this ornament would be hanging out of, instead of just your traditional, not that there's anything wrong with that, but like the fir trees that you see for Christmas. So just something a little bit different, a little bit more colorful, and flowers, because you know I love flowers. So stamped all those out, cut masks, lazily, totally lazy, cut these masks. I only cut, because I used two different flowers, so I only cut one for each one, and then I positioned them in a way in which I would be able to stamp the things in the background without having to have full masks for the rest of them. So masked my flowers and my ornament, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the leaves. Again, being totally lazy, I should have got my full-size Misty. I didn't. I just stuck with the mini Misty and just kind of moved my paper around as necessary to get all of my stamping done. Speaking of stamping in intense black ink from Simon Says Stamp, because you know we gonna Copic color. You know we are, because it makes me happy, makes my little heart happy. So, it has been a hot minute. It's been about 2 weeks, I think, since I have posted a video. Just some things changing in my life and my card making, making decisions about what I'm going to be doing going forward for the new year. All good things, all super exciting things. But, you know, between that, my regular job, my college kids actually graduate tomorrow, so I have graduation. Super excited to see them do that. Could not be more thrilled with the way that that went this year. Really super enjoyed teaching, and hoping that the next academy, which starts in January, goes just as well. So couple of different things, like I said, going on. And then my youth group has been very active. That particular unit of the police department has been very active lately. So yeah, just a little bit crazy. And I haven't really had anything due for the companies that I work for. So I just haven't been making anything. I know. But anywho, so stamping all of this, I mean, you guys, if you've watched my videos before, if you've been to my channel, you know how this is going to roll out. We're going to do all the stamping. We're going to remove the masks. It's going to be like, la, mask. Removal is like the best part, like seeing how it all looks when everything's removed. Totally my favorite. And then we'll do Copic coloring, and we'll have some story time interjected because I know it's been a while. I know it has been a while. So I just wanted to say quickly before I told you that this is part of a blog hop. It's actually a 2-day blog hop for Pretty Pink Posh. There is giveaways. There's 4 $25 gift certificates that are being given away, and I will have that linked below on YouTube. Please go check that out so you don't miss your chance to win, but also because just super talented people and amazing inspiration. Even when I'm super busy, I'm still like scrolling Instagram and watching other people's YouTube videos, just for inspiration, and because, you know, I just love the hobby. I started getting into this because, you know, I loved the hobby. So, I chose to do my ornament gold, and so that's why I can get away with filling this whole thing in with the gold. So you can see on the left hand, like left bottom and top right, I have left myself 2 white areas that are going to be highlights. And then as I'm going through and adding in the shading, I'm actually going to leave a little bit of a lighter edge. So I'm bringing that dark line right up to my highlight and leaving the YO2 edge because I wanted there to be a little bit of reflective light so it would look more dimensional. Using just the tip of my marker and flicking motion for the most part in filling this in. The lines on the edges, not so much there. Pretty much just drawing the line with the shape of the ornament, but as far as filling in the color in the center, definitely using the flick, the famous flick of Copic markers. And then again, you've been here before, you probably already know, but I will tell you again in case you are new. I work from lightest to darkest, darkest to lightest. The reason that I'm filling this entire thing in is because I know the colors that I'm going to fill the pattern in with will cover. And then also the way I'm doing the shading on the pattern is a little bit different. Maybe a year ago, I probably would have done the shading in from the left and the right hand sides. Totally not wrong. It's not wrong. And it will give you dimension. This is just a different way to make it dimensional. And just like you guys, I'm always trying to learn things and get better at what I'm doing. So for the shading, instead of coming in from the left and the right hand side and leaving that center highlight, what I'm doing is I'm going to fill them in all with the lightest color. So I'm doing the berries now. My lightest color for this particular portion of it is an R29, which isn't really a light color, but it is the lightest one we're using right now. And I'm not coloring in the berry areas that are in the white highlight. I'm leaving that white. So later on when I go over with my gel pen, I don't have to worry about it kind of like pulling the red and turning pink. And then I'm going to go in with my darkest marker and only add the darkest part where the shading is already there, where it would be the darkest on the ornament. So again, lightest color filling in all of the holly leaves with this G05, and then going back and where I've already put the shadows with the gold, I'm going to add the shadows to the holly only in those areas. And that's going to help give it a more dimensional look. You would think, looking at this from a G05 to a G, what is this, a 28, 29, that would be too far for them to blend. It's not. Now, that's not going to be true with everything. If I tried to go from like a R05 to an R29, it might not blend as well, but these two colors do blend and gives that super dimensional look. We'll come back to this to put in the white highlights and cover up that pattern part of it. And then we're going to move on to the poinsettias. I know there's a lot of instruction right now, and not everybody loves a lot of instruction, but there will be story time. Don't worry. As far as the poinsettias are concerned, I really love. First of all, I love the way these are drawn. I love that they are more simple shapes, so you can really do a lot to make it your own. I'm going to add shading using the same flicking method. From the base toward the middle and from the tips toward the middle as well. And that way it will leave the highlight in the middle of my petals and it will look like it's folding out or blooming out. That's how I like to color my flowers. If you wanted poinsettias, red, white, all common. The other common one is red and white. If you wanted to do the red and white one, don't add the red on the tips. Just add it out from the base and blend it out into the white. So, anywho, story time. So recently, this is going to sound like it's going to be a huge bummer, but I have to preface it with it so you understand. So recently, one of the retired officers that I worked with passed away. And Mike was a super nice guy, and it was terribly sad. But when that happens in a police department, typically your department does for the family, and that means they post colors at the funeral. They might do a silent guard, specifically if they're killed in the line of duty. We all get dressed up in our Class A's. Okay, so your fancy uniforms. I don't like wearing my fancy uniform because in my 15 years, I've only ever worn the fancy uniform for funerals. So I call them my funeral clothes. I don't really like it. But nonetheless, seeing as how I've only had to wear them, I think three times in my entire career, basically, unless you're a super like thorough person and you keep all your stuff together and organized, and I'm not, okay? My life is thinly controlled chaos. You guys know this by now. And because I'm not like the move and all of those things, I basically had no idea where my uniform was, or if it was clean, or what the situation was. So I have to hunt it down first of all, and I finally do hunt it down. I end up having to like spot clean it because I didn't have time to get it dry cleaned, which is usually the case. You never have time to get that stuff done. And then so the pants I wore to work every day after I had my son, when I bought new pants, I bought like the cargo style because they're way more comfortable for wearing every day. But you can't wear those with your Class A's. You can't. So I had to go back to my original issue from when I got my uniform. And that was when I started working at the police department when I was 20 years old. This was a far cry before I had a child. So we're going to talk about basically what most people have to deal with at some point or another in their lives. So I dig through my uniform, I find them, I find the pants, I can't find my tie or my tie bar. So I have to call in resources from other people who aren't attending this funeral. But nonetheless, I find everything else. I get everything together, put it on a hanger. Side note card. So this is for my cheap chickens. We all buy all the Copic markers or think we need all the Copic markers. You don't. You can actually alter them with other Copics because they're transparent. So here I used the same red combination for the flower and the berries, but I wanted there to be a differentiation so that it was a little bit more dynamic. Instead of pulling out like all of these tomato reds, I colored them with the same reds, and then I just went over it with a orangish yellow, which is the Y38. It completely changes the tone of the color. It takes it from a cool red to a more tomato red, and like you're good to go. It looks completely different. So super good way to save some money. Anywho, so I pull my uniform out, hang it up on the door, and I know, so I have to get my son to school about a half an hour before I'm supposed to be at the funeral home. So I knew I was going to be cutting it close. So I get him up, start getting him ready for school, get myself ready for this funeral. And I put on these pants, guys. These pants from 15 years ago. Buddy. Talk about a tight fit. I think it was a small miracle. I think Jesus himself looked down on me from heaven and was like, girlfriend, you gonna need some assistance because those pants ain't gonna close. Oh my gosh, you guys. Oh my gosh. It was so uncomfortable, but I didn't have a choice. They were the only ones I had. Plus, I don't know if you know this about uniform pants in particular. They sit super high. They're cut for men. They aren't necessarily cut for women. So they don't sit on your hips. They sit like at your belly button. So there's no wiggle room. None. Zero. It was so uncomfortable. I was like, I don't even know how I'm going to sit down. And most of us might not have this problem, but maybe the guys will find their jacket is too tight or their jacket is too small. Because we never wear these things. And until you pull it out and put them on, which is basically usually 2 days before a funeral, you ain't got time to get that stuff altered. You just suck it up, Sally. So I get myself ready. I get my kid to school. I get in the car. I am rushing because I am supposed to be at the funeral home, and I know I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it at all. But I don't have a tie and I don't have a tie bar, so I'm not even in my full Class A's. So one of the guys I work with sends me a text message and is like, there's a tie and a tie bar in the car for you. Doors unlocked. And I'm like, okay, awesome, fantastic. I get out there, I get a telephone call when I'm still about 5 minutes away that says they started early, we're leaving for the church already. And I'm like, oh man, you got to be kidding me. So the guy I was supposed to be riding with was like, just meet me at the church and then you can drive over with me for the rest of it. Side note card. So filled in all of the green leaves, used 2 different greens, again, trying to make it a little bit more interesting and a little bit more dynamic. And I just wanted to show you, I don't always show it because it's a little bit time consuming, but me using the 0 marker, because I'm a sloppy colorist. I just am. So if you're looking at your coloring and you're like, oh, it doesn't look like hers, I don't stay in the line, I'm out here, I'm out there. So am I. Just, that's the joy of the colorless blender. In order to make the colors pop a little bit more and fill in that corner, I'm using 2 lighter blues. I'm just going to outline all of the images with the darker of the 2. And then with the light one, I'm going to go back over and flick it out toward the edge. So I'm on my way to the church and I get there. They're already inside the church. I can't find the cruiser that has my tie and my tie bar in it. Because it's parked in the front of the church and everybody else is parked on the side of the church. So I'm just pacing up and down the side of the church trying to find this cruiser. Finally, my sergeant catches my eye and I'm like, where's 91? And he's like, over here. So I get it. We get in there. It was all okay. So then on the way over to the actual burial, I'm drinking water and I don't have my coat on. I just have my shirt on because it's hard to sit in the coats. They're kind of boxy. And I'm drinking water. And do you ever have it where you just miss your mouth? Like you just miss your mouth. It just happens. Like I'm drinking the water in this uniform that I can't get anything on because I have to be presentable because I'm, representing the department and also because it's a funeral and you know what I'm saying? And like, it's like running down my chin. I'm trying to catch it with my hand. In my head, I'm all like, not today, Satan, because I can't get anything on this. It was just like from beginning to end, just crazy. Back to this card. So I'm using a silver gel pen from Sakura, and I filled in the top part of that ornament, top part, because I can enunciate things. And then I'm going to use that same one with a T-square ruler to draw a line, and then I just did a quick little bow. I cut the seasoned greeting script die once out of black and 2 out of weight because I was being lazy and I didn't want to do all 5 of them, and I thought that'll be enough lift. And you know what? It all worked out. But so I'm just going to stack them on top of each other just so it has a little bit more heft to it, a little bit more weight. And I love this font. I love this font. I think it is super pretty. But yeah, so once like we got done with the whole service, and it was a very long service. Mike was Byzantine Catholic, and so it was like an hour and a half at the church and then like another maybe 30 minutes at the burial. I was squeezed into these pants the entire time. And maybe you don't have to wear class A's, so maybe on that level you can't relate, but you know what I'm talking about. Weddings and funerals. You're always hunting through your closet, trying to find something you can wear. Nothing fits right. Things that you thought that you could wear before, now all of a sudden they don't fit, or they lay weird. It's so frustrating trying to find something to wear for those things that are appropriate, that you feel comfortable in, and also fit correctly. When I was gluing these together, typically I put glue all over them and then I just smush them together and they line up fine. Because this one was a little bit more delicate, I was having some trouble. So what worked better for me was to put glue down on like the first 1 or 2 letters, get the one positioned on top of the other, and then lay the glue down on the rest of it so that it was easier to line up. I am going to just adhere them down to like the bottom right hand side of the card because it is such a large greeting and I didn't want to cover up all of my coloring because I spent the time doing all of the coloring. So I can already just see how Thanksgiving is going to go with this pants situation. I'm going to need to wear the stretchy pants. the extra shirt. I'll just wear yoga pants, I think, to Thanksgiving, just in general, because I'm gonna eat too much, and then I'm gonna eat the pie, and I'm gonna eat the cookies, because my mom still cooks like, I don't know, an army's coming to her house to have dinner. It isn't an army, it's just, 6 or 8 of us, but there's always leftovers. And I'm gonna eat too much food. So yeah, that's gonna be a thing. I am typically a sequin girl on my cards. I love me some clear sequins. But part of this release had some really beautiful sequin or jewel mixes. And I haven't really used too many jewels. I think they're really pretty. I just didn't have any to use. And this one, the holiday mix, had like some iridescent white ones in there. Because I don't know, I'm not very good at using colored sequins or colored jewels or even colored Nuvo drops. Just looks weird to me. But so I really loved these white ones. They're super pretty. So I put those on there, and then I added some clear Wink of Stella to everything that I could, possibly add that to: the flowers, the berries, the ornament, all that thing. So it'd be super glittery. And that's the whole card. So honestly, I will try to be better about getting you guys some videos here in the recent future. Thank you for sticking with me, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.